This week, some of you might have seen that Mary J. Blige, the queen of R&B, the singer that we love so much, has been having some problems. First, there was the incident where she was doing that weird Burger King commercial where she's dancing for crispy chicken, which a lot of people thought was a little bit strange. And then there was the issue with the charity that she runs with Steve Stout. And the charity has been accused of bouncing checks to people that performed at the events. They've been accused of not giving scholarship money that was promised to young students. And a lot of bad press has been coming out from Mary lately. And I was just trying to figure out what might be going on. So to talk about the issue, I brought in my partner in crime, editor-in-chief at Your Black World, Miss Yvette Carnell. How you doing today, Yvette?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing very well, very well. Now, what do you think about this thing with Mary J. Blige and the charity and all that? What went through your mind when you saw this go down?
You know, let me just say, I think I said this to you already. Negroes and their little charities. If you're really not serious about doing serious work, you know, in the community that buys your records or goes to watch your games, then I really just don't even see a need for you to do it. For most people, this is kind of a tax write-off. It's a tax benefit that you pawn off to somebody else, and you let them do a little work, and you send 2-3 kids to camp or whatever, and that's just the way it goes. But I don't think that really does anything for anybody. I mean, you have Mary J. Didn't she come out and say, well, you know, I really need to do better? Like, you've been in this business. How long you've been doing this charity? How long? And then all you come out and say, well, you know, I got to do better. You know, this is the best we can get, you know, with our black multimillionaires and people who've really been successful in the business. The best we can get is, well, I'm going to do better. You know, I just think that's just a piss poor excuse for everything. And I just want to say, wasn't it about a year or so ago that we found out that, you know, that Jay-Z and Beyonce didn't really, you know, give much money to their own charity? They had, what was it, like I think it was like less than $100,000, you know, and they weren't giving money to their own charity. So it's just kind of a running joke at this point that some of these, and I hate that because there are some people that really do good work that really just don't get to shine.
Interesting. Well, yeah, what you make a reference to is the fact that I think Jay-Z made over $75 million last year and gave $6,000 to charity, according to a report, which is just appalling. I mean, it's really interesting because I don't think it's a coincidence that both Jay-Z and Mary J. Blige are out of New York City. I'm a New Yorker, and I'm not a hardcore, like, born and raised New Yorker, but I've spent a lot of time in New York. And one of the things that's really interesting about New York is that there is a kind of me-first attitude that really breeds a lot of slumlord-like behavior. When you see some of the things that Russell Simmons does and other people, where it's sort of like, look, you know, we know that you are poorer than us, and we know that you idolize us. So your job is to sit back and watch the throne and watch our private jet flying over your head, and we're not here to really do anything for you. And we know that we can basically treat the community almost like our little hoes, in that we can get whatever we want from you, but you can't expect a damn thing from us. And now I'm not saying this translates to Mary J. Blige and what happened with this charity, but I think that there are a lot of questions. I think that a lot of us want to know what's going on. You know, somebody actually asked me the other day, they said, is Mary J., you know, is she, going back to her old ways? You know, and I don't want to really talk about that too much, but you know what I'm talking about. She sings about it all the time. You know, what's going on with her? Because it seems like her camp is just out of order and they're making so many horrible mistakes. And I just would like to know, because I was really concerned about those students who lost their scholarship money. And then they were saying very, unflattering things about Mary J. Blige. They said, well, when she came to our event, she just came in and spoke for 2 seconds and said she had to go, and we haven't heard a word from her. And these kids are about to drop out of college because they didn't get their money from the Mary J. Blige charity. And I think that they should make this right. What do you think?
Well, I think they should make it right, too. And listen, it goes back to, if you don't want to do it, no one's forcing you to have a charity. If all you want to do is sing and give your art to the world, that's perfectly fine. Don't start a charity. Don't put people's hopes up and say, hey, I'm going to do this for you because I care about people. I care about black people. I come from the hood. That's who I am. You know, and then get out here and be like, oops, but yeah, you don't have any tuition. Nobody forces you into that situation. So if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But there are artists out here who don't have charities. That's perfectly fine. But don't set a standard and don't set an expectation for young black kids and then renege on it. I mean, it just goes against everything. It's everything that you say you are in the public.
Yeah, it's very strange that they were bouncing checks and all this other stuff. If these lawsuits have any merit to them. It's strange because they were sending out tweets where they were bragging about how much money they made at their event. They were like, we raised $100,000 tonight and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, if you're raising this money, where's that money going? Who's spending that money? Who's getting that money? I think that's one of the things that people deserve an answer to, especially the people who support Mary and believe in her charity. And I think that if Mary is actually the victim here, which I don't believe, I think that you pick the people that work for you. So if they're victimizing you, then you're just the perpetrator to yourself, if you ask me. But if it's true that she just has mismanagement and these are mistakes, then, I'd like to know how these mistakes are going to be corrected. And also, the thing is that we're talking about Mary J. Blige, who is one of the most respected veterans of R&B music. I mean, we're not talking about Jordan Sparks or somebody who just came on the scene in 2009. Mary J. was singing in the early 90s, maybe even the 80s. I don't know when she came out, but she's been around
somewhere
for a while.
around there.
Yeah, she's been around for a while. So I think she should do better. And I really hope everything's okay. And, I think we have so much respect for Mary. The last thing we want is to see her bouncing checks and dancing for crispy chicken. I think we can agree on that. So,
yes, I think we agree.
all right. No more drama, Mary. At least not over bounce checks and fried chicken. Well, thank you very much, Yvette. I truly appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And thank you all for checking us out at yourblackworld.com. And please keep supporting us. We are approaching the 100,000 subscriber mark, which means a lot to us. It may not mean a whole lot to these big corporate websites, but we are straight grassroots, straight Chitlin Circuit. And the fact that we are kicking butt and taking names makes me feel really good. It lets me know that there are a lot of black folks who want good information, who want the truth, who want the world to be a better place. So I appreciate your support. So until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.